You are listening to the Cattle Call Podcast. This is the place where computer-aided design and drafting meets humor and practicality, with a touch of business acumen thrown in for fun. Jim and Rocco, the owners of Zentech Consultants, the premier U.S. technology consulting firm for architecture, engineering, construction, and manufacturing, discuss the fascinating world of CAD with some humor and some honesty. The Cattle Call Podcast. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Cattle Call Podcast with Jim and Rocco from Zentech Consultants. I am Jim, your freakishly loud host, and with me, as always, is my partner,
Rocco.
Just Rocco. He's simple, he's easy, but it still won't save you. You still have to suffer through the engineering joke of the week. And warning, this is a long one today. It's an actual joke. You ready for this?
I got to pay attention.
You got to pay attention. All right. So during the French Revolution, right, the revolutionaries, they lead a priest, a gambler, and an engineer up to the guillotine. And they ask the priest first if he wants to face up or face down when he meets his final fate. And the priest says he would like to face upwards so that he will be looking towards heaven when he dies. So, okay, so they raise up the blade of the guillotine and they release it, and it comes speeding down, and suddenly it stops just 1 inch from his neck. Well, the citizens take this as divine intervention, and they release the priest. So the gambler comes up to the guillotine next, and he also decides to die face up, hoping he'll get as lucky as the priest did. So they raise up the guillotine, and they release it, and it goes, and it stops just 1 inch from his neck. And again, they take this as a sign of, it's divine providence, and they let the gambler go as well. Next comes the engineer, and he says, hey, why not? It's worked so far. So he gets in and says, I also want to die face up. And they put him in, and as they're slowly raising the blade of the guillotine up, the engineer just goes, hey, I see what the problem is. See? I like that one too. It's like, that actually does fit. I've known many engineers, and honestly, to a certain level, I'm kind of guilty of that myself. So, oh, goodness. All right, folks. So today we are doing another recurring episode of Bluebeam features you need in your life, because Bluebeam is generally awesome. And almost all of our listeners use it at, one level or another. And what we try to accomplish with these episodes is to kind of get you guys looking at and using, some of the Bluebeam tools that you may not even be aware of. I'm always surprised how many of those there are. And for today, I'm going to focus on a simple process called publishing. Now, for most of us, right, the idea of publishing sounds pretty simple, right? It's almost the exact same thing as printing, just with a slightly different name. Well, no, it's actually much more complex and much more powerful than that. Publishing may look like just a way to print multiple files at once, but there's a good bit more going on in the background that you may not realize, and there are a number of options that can, I think, make a really big difference for you when it comes to storing and sharing files outside of your company. So, Rocco, we work heavily in the architecture and engineering space. How many of those clients are primarily printing PDF files these days versus actual paper documents?
Paper documents?
What is this?
I guess it still goes on at some level, but yeah, not very many people out there anymore these days. And it's, in the digital age, quicker, better, faster, and quicker, better, faster is not using paper anymore. That's for sure. Yeah,
no, we all live and die, and that's why Bluebeam's so, massively used. Okay, so with that being said, what's the main difference between printing and publishing in Bluebeam? The big thing is that, printing a PDF, it outputs all of the data that's in your file exactly as it is, 100%, no exceptions. And also, printing is really, it's single file focused. I mean, yes, there are ways to do multiple files at once, but it takes a little bit of effort to get it set up properly. Whereas publishing, on the other hand, I mean, it natively prompts you to select multiple files, right? As soon as you run it, it says pick all the files you want, so that it's ideal for outputting entire projects all at once. And that's good. but it is not the primary reason behind using the publish tools in Bluebeam. The big reason is that when you publish, review will remove all of the previously saved revisions of a document, right? Which can dramatically reduce file sizes, and it can potentially, it has a potential, I guess, to eliminate a lot of questions and confusion. And wait, you're listening, right? Did you guys not know that review has the option to automatically save your revisions as you're working? It does. And it will save previous versions of all your sheets every time you hit the save button, right? And, then, when you do that, you can just use the file revert as tool to go back to previous edits and previous states of that file in real time, right? Without having to save multiple different versions of the file, revision 1 or revision 2 or revision 3. You can do it all in one file. And that can be a really great tool in and of itself, right? So it's a little add-on tool we get to talk about here today. But, as you guys can imagine, right, creating a snapshot of your file every single time you hit the save button, that is going to dramatically increase the size of your PDF. Look, it's really convenient for, internal usage in your company, but it's not something you're going to want to share with other people outside your company. And not just because of the size issue, but I think more importantly, because of the potential for, sharing, comments and markups and other internal data that you may not want other people to see. All right. And that's where publishing comes in. Anytime you publish files, all of your revisions are automatically removed from the new output print. It's the safest way to share clean information with anybody outside your company who you don't want to see your internal communications and markup processes. So Rocco, look, I'm pretty sure I know your answer here already, but has anybody ever actually asked you about Review's publishing capabilities?
No, I didn't even know that it was a separate feature within Bluebeam. So
that's kind of what I figured.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, you know what? That's why we bring up tools like this, on the podcast, right? There are just a ton of features like Publish that most people have never heard of, or maybe, you've seen it on the menu file, right? And you just kind of dismissed it as unimportant. No, it's just another way to print. And I cannot tell you from the tech side of the house how many people are interested in maintaining access to the older versions of their files, right? I get this all the time, but those same people are very concerned about someone outside the company getting access to, whether it be, internal cost calculations, or, you got a rude comment about the owner that one of the field guys left in there. Those things happen. And this is, I recommend using Publish for 100% of the files that you're going to be sending out of your office, just in case. I tell you what, so let's get a break in here. And when we get back, I want to talk about some of the other Publish features and options that you can use to make your life easier in Bluebeam Review. So stick around, folks. We'll be back in just a minute with more of the Cattle Call Podcast. Hey everybody, this is Jim and Rocco with ZenTech Consultants, and we wanted to talk to you a little bit today about the training options that we have available here for you guys at ZenTech Consultants. We offer public training classes as well as private custom courses for all of your software and design needs. So, Rocco, why don't you tell the folks what kind of training we offer and how do they reach out to us to get it going for them?
Yeah, Jim, we cover everything from Bluebeam to Autodesk to Microsoft to BricsCAD to civil site design training and beginner through to advanced level topics. Like you said, both public and private courses. If you got a group and want to run a class specifically for your team, we can help you. So just feel free to hit our website. We're at zentechconsultants.net. That's ZENTEK, or you can give us a ring, 866-824-4459, or even drop us an email, sales@zentechconsultants.net.
There you go, ZenTech Consultants for all of your technology training need. All right, everybody, welcome back to the Cattle Call Podcast. We're talking about Bluebeam features you need in your life, and today we're focused on the Publish tools. And in the top half of the show, I kind of explained what publishing really is, right? And why I think we should all be using it. And on this side of the show, I want to talk about the 3 options that you have available when it comes to publishing your PDF files in Bluebeam. And the thing to keep in mind here is that these options we're going to talk about, they're kind of we'll call it, quote unquote, in addition to features. They will all publish multiple files to a new file, and they'll strip out all of the revision data automatically, all of the ones we're going to talk about, right? So the first option that you're going to see when you go to publish, you're going to see this concept. It's called publish uncompressed. And this is really nothing more than the default publish option. It leaves your output files, right, with only the current revision data. And in a standard PDF format, right? So there's nothing to worry about. It's basically just what you would expect. It's just stripping out the revision data, printing it out, and you're done. So, you can use this, right, this publish uncompressed at just about any time and not worry too much about the publishing details. It's a pretty simple process. Rocco, just kind of out of curiosity, right? I know you said earlier, right, you've never even looked at or knew there was the publish feature. So you've never used it personally, but does the idea of publishing and being certain to strip out kind of, private company data from PDFs genuinely interest you, like as a small business owner?
Oh, of course. Yeah. I mean, we do a lot of government work here at Zentech. And so, as you can imagine, there's tons of personal and confidential information that's within these documents, and you need to share with various people. So it is a huge help and a big feature.
Yeah. Well, here's a good thing, make you sleep easier at night. I always publish our drawings. Whenever I send out PDFs, so I'm usually the guy who winds up printing them out for us on that government side. I always publish just for that reason. I think it's really important, right? Internal comments and markups and reviews and questions and things all get stripped out. So, okay. So I tell you what, then let's talk about the second publish tool, which is called Publish as Compressed. And this is a great tool, because not only is it going to strip out all the older revisions, right, which will automatically reduce your PDF file size, right? You pull out all your revisions, file is going to get smaller. But publishing as compressed is going to go a step beyond that. It's going to actively compress your PDF files via a compression algorithm in exactly the same way as any kind of a zip file would do. The great thing here is that the resulting file is still a PDF. It's not a zip file or an RAR file, right? That's going to require some kind of special software, special tools at the other end for someone to extract. It's still just a native PDF that can be opened in literally any PDF editor without the need for any third-party software support. And I think when you take both the publishing and the compression together, right? They're joined in this one command. You can save a tremendous amount of space with your files. I mean, I regularly get files using this methodology that are as small as 10 to 12% of the original, uncompressed file size, right? When I'm working those two options. When you're working with a large scale construction project, right, with a large number of pages, right? Some of these jobs we do have 400 or 500 pages in a set. This can become a huge time and money saver. So Rocco, kind of in general, right, how concerned are clients in the AEC space about file size and space savings on whether it be their server or their cloud storage system?
Yeah, it's always a concern. I mean, nowadays it's easier, right, to add storage in a cloud-based environment, but that doesn't mean that it's cheaper. I mean, in some ways it's even more expensive. So you're always, particularly if you're a business owner, you're keeping an eye on the amount of storage that you need. And we're always getting notices here at Zentech about getting close to storage limits. So it's something that you always want to keep an eye on. And so having a feature like this in Publish is definitely helpful and important.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. All right, so the last publishing method that we're going to kind of touch on here is the idea of publish as flattened. And this tool, basically what it does, it's going to run the Bluebeam flatten tool on your PDF after publish has stripped out all the revision data. And look, for those of you who are unfamiliar with it, the flatten tools will take all of your Bluebeam created notes, markups, tools, symbols, whatever, right? Basically anything that you draw or create in Bluebeam, and flatten will convert them to be part of your background PDF, right? So that those items are no longer editable. It's basically like doing CAD drafting and printing it out. It just converts whatever markups you put in. And this is an absolutely invaluable tool when you use the flatten tool manually, right? It helps you to keep, contractors and so on from, editing or deleting vital information, moving it accidentally, whatever it may be. When you're able to handle the flattening automatically, right, rather than manually as part of the publish process, which is what we're talking about here, it gives you total security that every bit of your file is secure and protected, as well as being as small as possible when you send it to anybody outside your own company. This publish as flattened process, it completely eliminates the need to manually select individual items or individual layers to go ahead and flatten, and you can simply, or not even you, I mean, the process, it just flattens everything in the file in one shot. Right? And this is it's a great way for you to handle things like, as-built or even just, design changes or notes that you need to be sure can't be removed or edited, right? Whether accidentally or maliciously, right? If somebody's trying to get around something. Converting the Bluebeam markups to flattened items also helps reduce the file size substantially, right? Since all of the, we'll call it the intelligent review information that you would need for editing it and changing colors and properties and so on later on, all that data is being stripped out. And only the simple graphic pixel data is going to remain as part of the standard PDF background. All right, so when you couple it, or you kind of go with this as like a two-step process, right? If you go in, open up your files and say, hey, I'm going to publish as flattened, and then publish them compressed, I think you guys are going to be absolutely amazed at the file size changes, right, that you can see, right, versus compared to a style that is storing its revisions. I love having to store revisions, but only internally. Right. Like I said, all at the end of the day, I guess what I'm trying to say is these are all very simple processes, right? But they are all ones that I think everybody out there should be using every single day. Hence the reason we covered it on today's show. Right?
So 2 quick questions for you.
2 quick questions for me. What do we got?
So number one, does it matter the version of Bluebeam, whether it's V20 or V21 or earlier? Is this available in all the versions?
It is. It's been around inside of Bluebeam since like 2010, I think, and it doesn't matter or impact which version, 5 forward, backwards, whatever, fully compatible. Good question.
So even under the perpetual licenses, we were under standard CAD and complete. Now it's basics, core, and complete. You have it with all versions.
Yep, have it with all versions. Yep.
Okay.
Another question or just that one?
No, that was kind of 2 in 1 there.
2 in 1. Yeah. Give me a twofer. All right, folks. On that twofer, we are going to get out of here, and we'll let you folks get back at your day, but come back because we'll be coming back at you next time with more of the Cattle Call Podcast. All right, everybody. Today's Cattle Call was brought to you courtesy of Zentech Consultants. That's Rocco and I. Zentech Consultants works with design and manufacturing firms to help our clients purchase and implement the software that they need in these complex industries. We provide a single point of contact for clients to buy, develop, and learn the most vital software systems for your specific needs. Zentech strives to be your trusted technology partner from your initial needs all the way through long-term support and training for your entire staff. So Rocco, why don't you tell them how to reach out to Zentech?
All right, yeah, you can reach out to us through zentechconsultants.net. You can email us at sales@zentechconsultants.net, or you could even call us, 866-824-4459.
Excellent. We look forward to hearing from y'all.